Before we begin, I want to warn you that this story contains mature themes. It deals with complicated family relationships, emotional boundaries, and difficult personal choices. If these topics make you uncomfortable, you might want to stop watching now. The basement was quiet, too quiet. I could hear the muffled clatter of plates upstairs, laughter breaking through every now and then, but down here it was just me. Well, me and my son, Kyrie. Everyone else had rushed upstairs the second they smelled breakfast like they hadn't eaten in days. I stayed back. I told myself it was because I didn't feel like battling over the last pancake, but honestly, I just didn't feel like being around everyone. The noise, the questions, the constant energy. It gets exhausting sometimes. Kyrie was still in the bathroom brushing his teeth like he didn't have a care in the world. He had always been like that, calm, unfazed by the chaos around him. I grabbed my toothbrush and joined him. The mirror was streaked with water spots, but I could still see us clearly. Him standing there like he owned the place and me trying not to overthink everything like I always do. "You're not hungry?" I asked. My voice came out louder than I meant it to. He shrugged. "Figured I'd stay down here for a bit. Less chaos that way." Less chaos? Yeah, I could understand that. Upstairs was probably a war zone by now, with family members arguing over plates and chairs. Down here it was just us. Quiet. Peaceful. But somehow strange. I don't know why it felt strange. But it did. I finished brushing and put my toothbrush back in my bag, glancing at him from the corner of my eye. For a second I thought about heading upstairs, but something kept me rooted there. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was him. I don't know. It's hard to explain what I had been feeling about Kyrie lately. If you had asked me a year ago, I would have told you he was simply my son, a quiet 20-year-old still trying to figure himself out after years of family instability. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Not in some dramatic, obvious way. More like little moments. A conversation that lasted too long. A look filled with too much emotion. A closeness that slowly stopped feeling normal. I started noticing how much he depended on me, not just as a mother, as his entire emotional world. And if I'm being honest, I depended on him too. After everything our family had been through, he became my comfort. The person I spoke to first, the person I leaned on, the person who was always there. Maybe too much. That morning, the silence between us felt heavier than usual. "You're awfully quiet," he said. I forced a smile. "Just tired." He nodded like he understood. And maybe he did, because lately it felt like we were both carrying something neither of us knew how to name. Later that morning, when everyone was upstairs, Kyrie and I stayed behind in the basement. We sat on the old couch near the laundry room, the house buzzing faintly above us. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. And yet, it felt like too much was being said. He sat closer than usual, not touching, just close enough for me to notice, close enough for it to feel wrong. My mind raced. Why did this feel different? Why did the air feel so heavy? Why did I suddenly feel aware of every breath, every glance, every silence? I knew something had shifted between us, not physically, emotionally. The boundaries had blurred. He had started confiding in me about things he should have been discussing with friends, mentors, or a therapist. His fears, his loneliness, his frustrations, even feelings he didn't fully understand. And instead of helping him create space, I kept pulling him closer. Because I was lonely too. Because part of me needed to feel needed. That was the truth I didn't want to face. As the day went on, the weight of it followed me upstairs. Every laugh at the breakfast table felt louder. Every glance from family members made me wonder if they could somehow see what was happening beneath the surface. Not an affair, not anything physical, but something still deeply unhealthy, an emotional dependence that had gone too far. Later, during a family card game, Kyrie sat across from me. Every time our eyes met, my chest tightened. Not because something had happened, but because something almost had. A line had been approached, and both of us knew it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment from the morning, every silence, every look, every moment I should have stepped back but didn't. What scared me most wasn't what happened. It was what almost happened. The realization that our relationship had slowly become something dangerous. The next morning, Kyrie found me alone in the den. "We need to talk," he said. His voice was quiet, heavy. I crossed my arms. There's nothing to talk about. But there was, and we both knew it. He looked at me, pain written all over his face. "I don't know how things got like this," he said, "but it doesn't feel right anymore." His words hit me harder than I expected, because he was saying exactly what I had been afraid to admit. I looked away. "This can't continue," I whispered. He nodded slowly. "I know." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said something that stayed with me. "I think we've both been holding on to each other for the wrong reasons." That was it. The truth. I had held on to him because I was afraid of being alone, and he had held on to me because he didn't know how to stand on his own. We had mistaken closeness for healing, dependence for love, comfort for connection, and that realization broke me. The rest of the day passed in a blur, family noise, forced smiles, pretending everything was normal. But inside, everything had changed. That night, I sat alone in my room thinking about everything. I couldn't undo what had happened emotionally between us. I couldn't erase the unhealthy attachment we had built. But I could choose what happened next. I could choose boundaries. I could choose healing. I could choose to be a mother again instead of an emotional crutch. The next week, I made the hardest decision of my life. I found us a therapist. At first, Kyrie resisted. But eventually, he agreed. The sessions were difficult, painful even. We had to confront truths neither of us wanted to face. How grief had changed us, how abandonment had shaped him, how loneliness had shaped me, how our roles had blurred. But slowly things began to improve. He started building his own life. More time outside the house, more independence, new friendships, a sense of identity beyond me. And I had to learn to let go, to stop making his life my emotional anchor. Healing didn't happen overnight. Some days were harder than others. Some silences still felt heavy. Some memories still stung. But now there was space, healthy space, the kind real love requires. Because love without boundaries can become something dangerous. Real love protects. It does not consume. It allows growth. Distance when needed, healing when necessary. Mistakes do not have to define the rest of your life. What matters is what you do after. How you face them, how you learn, how you move forward. The house is quiet now, but this silence feels different. It doesn't feel suffocating. It feels peaceful, hopeful. Kyrie is finding his own path, and I am learning to rebuild mine. If this story taught me anything, it's this. Sometimes the people we love most can become the people we lean on too heavily. And when that happens, boundaries are not rejection. They are protection. For both people. I still don't have all the answers. But I know this isn't the end of our story. It's the beginning of something healthier, something better. So tell me, what would you do if your world started falling apart like mine did? How would you move forward? Let me know in the comments. And if this story made you feel something, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.